distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of us to the State of the Nigerian Environment 2023 ProMax. My name's Prince Ene Baba O Jr., the National Coordinator, Clean Up Nigeria, and the Secretary, the National Technical Study Group, NTSG. Almost very quickly, apologize for the time mixed up. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the press, let me kindly first introduce you to the 2023 ProMax study, which is about 2,786 pages. The executive summary we have here is reduced, so it makes it a lot easier for us to go through. That's about 41 pages. At this point, let me again welcome members of the NTSG to Akwa Ibom. Actually, this is the first time we're going to hold the State of the Nigerian Environment stone outside the Federal Capital Territory. And for this year, in honor to Akwa Ibom State, having previously emerged 5-time winners of Stone 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. The project's international project partners, alongside the UN Governing Council, elected that it was appropriate and honorable to have it in Akwa Ibom State. So in the spirit of Christmas, we'd like to say Merry Christmas first and a Happy New Year ahead. I proceed. The 2023 Executive Summary Report, Stone 5-Year Review 2020 to 2022, Project Cycle Review tagged Stone ProMax 2023. 7 years ago, way back in May 2016 in Faraway, Calgary, Canada, Clean Up Nigeria secured the initial project funding from the International Council for Local Environmental Initiative, ICLEI, Canada, to carry out the State of the Nigerian Environment Stone studies annually based on our previously submitted proposal to the global body. Never did we anticipate that a full review of our initial project scope by our project partners would be a total turnaround aimed at meeting the global best practices. When the 3-member assessment team from ICLEI Canada arrived in Nigeria to begin the comprehensive review of the project, they discovered that several global best practices indicators were not captured in the project proposal, and that the funding approved were far below what was required to meet the project goals and objective. The project was therefore suspended for a full calendar year, and we all went back to the drawing board to harmonize both the technical specification and the search for additional project partners to meet the funding requirement for the full takeoff of the project. By November 2016, the parties, ICLEI and Clean Up Nigeria, succeeded in bringing on board chairs the study group. The committee eventually endorsed Professor Solomon Adekunle Balogun of the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the United States of America to serve an initial 6-year term. Consequently, the National Technical Study Group in the past 6 years, with his first-time project contract ending in 2023, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me and us together in congratulating our erudite global professor of environment, Professor Solomon Adekunle Balogun, for a job well executed. In the past 6 years. Stone 2023 ProMax 5-year project review. Please, can you step up the volume of, who's in control? Can you step the volume of that? In the year 2023, both the Clean Up Nigeria and our international project partners thought it wise that a comprehensive review of all aspects of the project in the past 6 years, 2018 through 2023, through project cycle is imperative in order to add value to the project, improve on areas of lack, expand project scope and mission, and the sustenance of the project objective and the gains recorded thereof. The comprehensive review of Stone 2023 is codenamed Stone ProMax 2022 and is aimed at a holistic review of the following areas. 1. Project manager's performance. 2. Review project expenditure profile. 3. Review media/publicity validation. 3. The NTSG Security Network project tours and the international project partners' performances. Others include evaluation of the technical study group performance. 7, stakeholders' feedback on their performance rating during the project cycles. And 8, 2023 validation of Stone study that allows for 10% bonus to be given to all states across board to form part of the result of determining Stone ProMax 2023 cumulative. In our evaluation index, each of the 5-year previous results are prorated with 18%. For instance, if FCT scored a cumulative of 73 in 2018, is calculated as 75 times 18 divided by 100, which will give you, in this case, 13%. Thus, 18% is used as the square root of all scores to determine the 5-year scores that will produce the cumulative scores. The evaluation is also carried out on 5 performance indicators for the 5-year period, in addition to the 2023 10% bonus marks allocated across board to all states of the Federation. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please be reminded that Clean Up Nigeria remains a frontline international NGO with social and economic consultative status with the United Nations since 1994. It is worthy of note that Cleanliness Performance Index rating of all towns and cities in Nigeria is an integral aspect of the annual State of the Nigerian Environment Stone study report held in conjunction with our project partners. We therefore remain grateful to them for the endless support. Our gratitude therefore goes to the International Council for Local Environmental Initiative Canada, Keep America Beautiful in USA, DSZ in Germany, Swiss Foundation in France, and Clean Up the World in Australia. In sustaining the project landmarks and credibility ratings, we again secured the overwhelming support from our international project partner to deploy the full application of the world's highest satellite imagery system, nicknamed JOI-1, that collects spectrum images that is data at 0.14 meters or 16 inches from the orbit year-round, that is monitored from the orbit to give us accurate and reliable database using the 5 variables listed herein. Methodology. We score the combined physical verification that takes place 20%, and the satellite imagery data 80% to determine the performance indicator on a yearly basis for 5 years project review cycles, and 10% allocated across board to all states of the Federation in 2023. The performance indicators are as follows. For this year, 2023 ProMax, street stroke road cleanliness carries 18%, vegetation and drainage carries 18%, waste management services 18%, public opinion pool 18%, knowledge, attitude, and practice kept on hygiene and sanitation of the people 18%, and 2023 bonus mark of 10%, giving it a cumulative of 100%. The yearly monitoring and evaluation in the entire states and zonal basis were carried out during this period under review. Year 2020, year-round. Year 2019, year-round. Year 2020, year-round. Year 2021, year-round. Year 2022, year-round. And year 2023, year-round. The project expected impacts: 6 among 1, to provide environmental data on the state of the Nigerian environment annually with specific focus on cleanliness presently. Raise the bar on cleanliness index nationwide, improve the people's living standard, reduce the incidence of sanitation and related diseases, for instance, malaria, typhoid, in order to promote healthy living, and equally stimulate reuse and recycling industry in the country. Number 6, it will help bring about hygiene, sanitation, and waste management to the front burner to all stakeholders. Use the scientific index rating of all states and cities in the country to draw the attention of government at all levels. Use the study's finding as catalyst for the modernization of waste management services. Increase citizenship knowledge, attitude, and hygiene practices for better living. And ultimately, provide the drive for increased employment in the overall sector. It is imperative to know that the 5-year 2018 to 2023 project cycles review study had the input of 18% for each year. The study shows that the statistical analysis of the different stages of our evaluated result on a yearly basis to the full summary of the result, this will enable us all have a better understanding, appreciation, and scope of work, thoroughness, credibility, and undeviating devotion the National Technical Study Group headed by Professor Solomon Bagugu has put in to arrive at this all-important and unbiased national and global assignment. Studies observations as follows. 1, in the past 6 years, 6% improvement was recorded in the procurement of waste management equipment by some governments in the country from 2018 to 2023. However, there was a significant drop in waste management equipment as most equipment previously on ground became unserviceable. 2, funding by states and local government council for waste management services had reduced drastically based on the evaluation of the Naira presently when compared to the increased services. This equally calls for serious incremental review on the part of government at all levels to help confront the challenges of ensuring a cleaner, healthier, and safer environment. 3, improvement of the health of sanitation workers employed by both government and private sectors to provide waste management services fell from 46% in 2018 to 31% in 2023. 4, the informal sector operators of waste management and reuse enterprises recorded lower patronage and suffered more setbacks as their activities reduced from 30% in 2018 to 26% in 2023. 4, rather 5, the incidence and prevalences of sanitation-related diseases has increased from 27% in 2018 to 39% in 2023. 6, inadequate sanitation and hygiene practices of the people in the 36 states and FCT still leaves much to be desired and calls for multiple strategies by all stakeholders. Our study shows 46% in 2018 against 32% in 2023. Interestingly, the practice of open defecation in all 36 states of the Federation and FCT has reduced from 32% in 2018 to 24% in 2023. However, Nigeria still remains the #1 country in the world that leads in open defecation as to date. Our studies further shows that in 2018, 4 states scored above 40 were considered to be clean, compared to 6 states in 2023. The states are Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, Bauchi, Plateau, FCT, and Kaduna states. And 5 cities, namely Abuja, Uyo, Bauchi, Jos, and Abakaliki, can be said to be clean in the year 2023. 9. Performance indicators shows that 183.4 million people in 2023 presently are living in an unclean environment, compared to 156.3% million in 2018. From 2018 to 2023, 4 states in the country, namely Lagos, Oyo, Abuja, Bauchi, have sanitary landfills, while the remaining 33 states operate open dumping. This development is not only alarming, but calls for urgent intervention to address the upgrade. Furthermore, inadequate potable water and hygiene and sanitation has escalated, where malaria and typhoid diseases by 24% in Nigeria, as observed from our 6-year project review 2018 to 2023. The recommendations are as follows. That 1, government at all levels, individuals and groups, including communities, should, as a matter of urgency, be encouraged to put in their best to step up their knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation to improve their living condition in order to increase their average life expectancy in Nigeria. Let's note that in 2018, life expectancy in Nigeria was 44 years, and presently it has dropped to 40 years due to multiple factors. 2, funding allocation for sanitation and waste management should be stepped up by at least 200% by states and local government council based on the present value of the naira, while corporate organizations should include support on sanitation and waste management facilities in their corporate social responsibility for states and local council areas in the country. 3, employers of labor should improve the living condition and wages of sanitation workers in view of the unsanitary condition that they are exposed to. They should be equipped with PPE, personal protection equipment, and given proper Medicare. In 2018, sanitation workers' living conditions stood at 22%, and in 2023, it moved to 26%. The informal sectors engaged in waste recycling and reuse industry stood at 31% in 2018 and 37% in 2023. Since 2018 to 2023, the dangers of open defecation has gradually reduced from 32% in 2018 to 24% in 2023. This can be attributed to the federal and state government intensive campaign, in addition to partnership consideration with non-governmental organizations and the private sector nationwide. From 2018 to 2023, our graphic chart statistic on performance indication on street cleanliness shows that only 7 states, namely Akwa Ibom, Abuja, Cross River, Bauchi, Ebonyi, Lagos, and Kaduna, who scored above 15% out of the 30% of the indicators, can be considered as having clean roads in the country. From 2018 to 2023, vegetation and drainage control shows that only Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, Bauchi, Abuja scored above 10% from the 10% which have effectively managed and sustained vegetation stroke drainage control in their respective states. 13. In the past 6 years, personal hygiene and sanitation performance indicators shows that only 5 states, namely Akwa Ibom, Plateau, Cross River, and Abuja, scored above 5% of the 10% to possess good personal hygiene and sanitation practices in the country. In the past 6 years of our project cycles, only 5 states in addition, Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, FCT, Cross River, and Bauchi can be considered to be clean, having scored above 40% respectively. From 2018 to 2023, and most regrettably, 31 out of the 36 states, including the rest of FCT, outside of Abuja, by our own statistical studies, are rated as unclean states. Since 2018 through 2023, as observed from our statistic image, 87% of states and towns in Nigeria recorded poor performances under the 5-year review in various variables. Our performance indicators such as street-stroke route cleanliness, vegetation and drainage control, waste management services, public opinion pool, and knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation of the people, with the exception of states like Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, Kaduna, Enugu, and Plateau, and Cross River, including Abuja Metropolis, who stepped up their environmental activities during the period under review, which is 2018 to 2023. There's no gainsaying that this has helped in reducing the incidence and prevalence of diseases associated with an increase in healthier living for many. If we must end open defecation in the country, let us increase the provision of public toilets in order to meet 2023 target of ending open defecation, a far cry in Nigeria. However, despite the country's reduction in open defecation, Nigeria continues to be rated as a country with the highest rate of open defecation in the world by the World Health Organization, WHO. This we duly affirm from our studies. It therefore becomes imperative that all hands must be on deck to reverse the ugly trend if we must meet 2023 target to end open defecation or reduce it drastically in Nigeria. 7, we once again call on government at all levels to reintroduce the monthly sanitation exercise and enforce the regular cleanup of drainages with renewed energy, as 87% of the citizenry have seriously neglected their role on environmental sanitation. There is the need, therefore, to encourage and strengthen more health and environmental clubs across schools nationwide in order to improve and sustain the practice of hygiene and sanitation among our children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, let us at this point pause to show the case on Cleanliness Performance Index rating on our charts of all states and their performance from 2018 to 2023. Please, can we have the light dimmed? Can that light be dimmed from this side so it can be more visible? This is the 2018 Cleanliness Performance Index, the full result, but we're going to dim it now for visibility purposes. Summary of monitoring and evaluation report of the UN National Technical Study Group on the Nation Cleanliness Performance Index rating for states of the Federation. If you notice, from the start, we have street stroke road cleanliness via satellites, 25%, vegetation and drainage control, 15%, waste management services, 30% via satellite, public opinion polls where questionnaires served, 20%, knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation, 10%, thus giving a cumulative of 100%. For 2018, Akwa Ibom, you could see, while we just run it through, Akwa Ibom had 21% on street cleanliness, 7% on vegetation and drainage control, out of 15%, 25% out of 30% on waste management, public opinion poll 10%, knowledge attitude 3% out of 10, giving a cumulative of 66%. Just roll it through. And so it runs from Cross River to FCT, Plateau. Now let's examine the graphic representation for 2018. You can see from the scale of preference for 2018, 66. Please note that's a typographical error there, 66. 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. Okay, given so far what my chairman has just done, we continue with a study of the evaluation that was done over a 5-year period. That's 2015 up until 2018 up until 2022. Now the indices are street stroke road cleanliness via satellite. These are images, these were images that were captured via satellite. And the other indices too were also carried out via person to person, on the ground, information gathering, just to be sure to get all of these indices like we've just stated. So street and road cleanliness, vegetation and drainage control, waste management, surveys, public opinion via the POP questionnaire as well as social media campaigns, and then knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene, sanitation, stroke sanitation. Now in Akwa Ibom State, can you please zoom in? Akwa Ibom State, from a total of 30% that was apportioned for street and road cleanliness via satellite capturing, recorded a 20%. When it came to vegetation and drainage control, Akwa Ibom State recorded 13% out of 15. And then waste management, out of the 30%, Akwa Ibom State recorded 22%. And then for public opinion, they had 16%. Knowledge and attitude and practice of hygiene and sanitation, Akwa Ibom recorded 7.2 out of 15. Closely followed by Cross River State as we scroll down, that recorded 15.3 under the indices of street and road and cleanliness, 10% for vegetation and drainage control, 15% for waste management, 15.2 for based on the public opinion, and 9%. For the purpose of time, we scroll down to see at number 36, Osun State recorded 3%. Under the indices of street and road management, it recorded 2 for vegetation and drainage control. It recorded 3 for waste management. It recorded 2 based on public opinion, and it recorded 1. Under the 2019 review year, Kogi State came more or less last with 4. based on street and road and cleanliness. 1 for vegetation and drainage control. 3 for waste management. 1 for based on the public opinion. Graphically, when we go to the next slide, you're going to see it clearly. Next slide, please. Okay. Based on the graph that we have seen now, Akwa Ibom State made a total of 66%, closely followed by Cross River, by the FCT rather. Now, we need to point out something about the FCT. Usually there's this misconception when you talk about Abuja. The FCT is made up of a total of 6 local government areas. So this is covering all of that and not necessarily just Abuja. Abuja is just the seat of the capital. So in 2019, Akwa Ibom recorded 66%. FCT followed closely with 55%. And then Ebonyi came third with 49%. If we go down that graph all the way to the end, let me take the 3-2 from the rear. We have Kogi State at 14%, Osun State at 13%, and Borno at 12%. 2020. For 2020, Akwa Ibom State came tops based on street road cleanliness at 23. Vegetation and drainage, it recorded 16%. Waste management, it stood at 25%. Based on public opinion, it had 8%, and then based on knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene stroke sanitation, it recorded 9%. That gave it a total of 80% in the 2020 review year. It was closely followed by Ebonyi, who recorded 11% based on street and road cleanliness. Based on vegetation and drainage control, Ebonyi recorded 8%. Waste management had them at 7%. Public opinion, they recorded 4%. And on knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene stroke sanitation, they recorded 4%. Lagos State came third with 6% based on street and road cleanliness, 4% based on vegetation and drainage control, 16% based on waste management, 3% based on public opinion, and 3% based on knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation. The 3 that are from the rear at 35 stood KB State with 3% based on street and road cleanliness. Based on vegetation and drainage control, KB recorded 2%. Waste management waste management, it recorded 3%. For public opinion, it recorded 1%. And based on attitude and knowledge of hygiene and sanitation, it recorded 1%. Followed by Zamfara that recorded 3 street and road cleanliness, 2 vegetation and drainage control, 3 waste management, 1 public opinion, and 1 knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene. The last for the 2020 review year was Kogi State that recorded 2 based on street road cleanliness, 2% based on vegetation and drainage control. Waste management, it recorded 3%. Public opinion, it recorded 1%. And knowledge and attitude of hygiene and sanitation, it recorded 1% too, to end the 2020 review year at 9%. We will go to the graph to show this expressly. Next slide. It is quite clear what I just read earlier. Akwa Ibom came tops once again at 80% for the 2020 review year, followed by Ebonyi at 44. Lagos came third at 41. And coming up at the rear was 10% for Kebbi. Zamfara recorded 10% and Kogi recorded 9%. We are going through the 2021 review year. We are taking our time to do this so as to show how expansive the studies were. Okay, so in 2021, we are still using the same indices of street, road cleanliness, vegetation and drainage control, waste management, public opinion pool via social media and one-on-one questionnaires, and then knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene. Once again, Akwa Ibom came first at 16% for street and road cleanliness, 8% for vegetation and drainage control, 19% for waste management. Public opinion, it had 8%, and knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation, Akwa Ibom recorded 13%. That gave it a total of 64% in the 2021 review year. Ebonyi came second with 17% for street, road, and cleanliness, 7% for vegetation and drainage control, 19% for waste management, 10% based on public opinion, and 2% for knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation. That gave Ebonyi State a total of 55% in the 2021 review year. Bauchi State came third with 12% for street and road cleanliness, 4% for vegetation and drainage control. Waste management, Bauchi recorded 21%. Public opinion, Bauchi recorded 5%. Knowledge and attitude, so practice of hygiene and sanitation, Bauchi recorded 2% to end that year at 44%. If we go down the list, at 35 stood Kogi State that recorded 4%. Vegetation and drainage, Kogi recorded 1%. Waste management, 5%. Public opinion, 2%. Knowledge and attitude, 2%, to end that year at 14%. Osun State came next with 4% based on street and road cleanliness, 1% vegetation stroke drainage, 5% waste management, 2% public opinion, 1% knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation. That left them at 13% for 2021. Borno came least with 4% for street road cleanliness, 1% for vegetation and drainage. Waste management, it stood at 4%. Based on public opinion, it stood at 2%. Knowledge, attitude, and practice had it recorded at 1%, so it ended that year at 12%. We move to the graph to make this more explicit. Akwa Ibom State.
Let's run the graphics.
Okay.
Just scroll them so that we can proceed with other things.
Okay. Akwa Ibom State came up with 64%. For 2021, Ebonyi came up with 55%, Bauchi 49%. Down the line we have Kogi at 14%, Osun State at 13%, Borno at 12%. As represented on the graph. That was for 2021. So we go to 2022. For 2022, the same indices applied. Street and road cleanliness with images captured via satellite and on ground, vegetation and drainage control, waste management, public opinion, knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene and sanitation. Akwa Ibom recorded 15% in 2022 for street and road cleanliness. It recorded 5% for vegetation and drainage control. It recorded 15% when it came to waste management. It recorded 7% based on public opinion. And it also recorded 10% based on knowledge and attitude and practice of hygiene and sanitation. That left Akwa Ibom at 54% for the 2022 review year. Ebonyi came second, Bauchi followed, and down below we had Osun State with 3% based on street and road cleanliness, 1% for vegetation and drainage control, 5% for waste management, 2% for public opinion, and 2% for knowledge and attitude / practice of hygiene and sanitation. Osun State ended that review year at 13%, followed by Borno that had 4% based on street and road cleanliness, 1% vegetation and drainage control, 4% waste management. Public opinion pool, it had 2%, and knowledge, attitude, and practice of hygiene / sanitation, it had 1%, to end the year at 12%. The list on that, for that review year was Abia State, that recorded 3% based on street and road cleanliness, 2% based on vegetation / drainage control, 3% based on waste management, 1% public opinion pool, 1% knowledge and attitude / practice of hygiene and sanitation. So Abia State ended the 2022 review year based on our evaluation at 10%. The graph will make that quite explicit too. So, (54% Akwa Ibom to come first, 41% Ebonyi to come second, and Bauchi recorded 34% to come third. Midway on that graph, we have Sokoto at 20%, Bayelsa at 20%, Edo State at 20%, and further down the graph, we have Osun State recording 13%, 12% was recorded for Borno, and Abia leading from a rear, so to speak, at 10%. Let us look at the 20, and now we go, now over this period, remember like we said, it was a 5-year program. That's why it is the Stone Pro Max. 2018 to 2022 records, 5 years. In 2023, which is the year now in review.
Yeah, okay, network, let me at this point.
Okay, over to my chairman. Thank you.
Now to the ultimate. This is a summary of Stone Pro Max 2023 result. Under the 2018-2023 review of 5-year project cycles, final scores for states. Give me the projection, okay? Great. In the year 2018, like I explained earlier, each year 2018 to 2022, 18 marks are allocated, while 2023 takes 10 marks. And the question was thus for 2018, 78% scores, which Akwa Ibom had, was 78 times 18 divided by 100, that gives 14%. For 2019, it was the same, 66 scored times 18 gives you 12%. 2020, 80 times 18 divided by 100, and so it got to 2022, 51%, 54% times 18 divided by 100 gives you 1%. And for 2023, across board, all states were giving a bonus of 10, which gives a cumulative of 72%. So it is with Ebonyi 50%, FCT 47%, Lagos 46%, we move to 12, Benue 33%, and so for 22, Gombe 27%, Kwara 26%, Zamfara 24%, Osun 23%, Borno 22%, and Kogi 22%. So let's have the graphic representation there. Graphic representation, please. So this gives you the ProMax summary scores. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with 72 points, Akwa Ibom has emerged the 2023 Akwa Ibom has emerged the 2023 Stone ProMax cleanest states in Nigeria for the 6th time. Vegetation and drainage. Like we said earlier, there were issues, the 5 variables which we have, starting from vegetation and drainage control. Let's have for the 5 years, this is what the score looks like. Vegetation and drainage control, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Let's have the graphic representation, please. That's one of the key performance indicators, vegetation stroke drainage control. Again, 21% out of 30%. Akwa Ibom emerged there. And the least on the ladder is 15, Kogi State. 20, let's go to waste management services for the 6 years. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Roll it. The graphic representation, please. Yeah. Again, on waste management services, Akwa Ibom 18%, Osun, Ogun 15%, Taraba 15%, Oyo 13%, Enugu 11% from the ladder. Let's move to the next performance indicator. Public opinion pool. Again, we can see from the top to the bottom, Akwa Ibom. The public opinion pool is around the country. Questionnaires are set physically on the social media for people to actually rate the states, including FCT. And this is what the people say across board, nationwide. Again, Akwa Ibom stood at a total score of 30%, while the lowest, which ran across over 15 states, were 15%. Again, Akwa Ibom emerged with public opinion, performance indicator as a clear leader. Graphic representation, please. If you like to clap, it's okay for you to clap. Thank you. road cleanliness. For the 6 years, 2018 through 2023, Akwa Ibom 18%, with 11% being the lowest. Again, Akwa Ibom had the rating on road cleanliness. Graphic representation, please. Knowledge, attitude, and practice of the people keep on hygiene and sanitation. We need to throw a little bit of light here. There are places in this country you go to, their knowledge of sanitation and hygiene and attitude leaves much to be desired. Each and every one of us will agree that it's common knowledge that among states, no matter how small or untidy the place is, you always have the issue of strong personal hygiene. Again, Akwa Ibom here on the 18% ladder, with the lowest being 18%. Akwa Ibom again took the lead. Graphic representation, please. Now, it's more interesting now because let's go to the zonals, the 6th geopolitical zone, North Central. As you can see from the graphic representation, FCT remains the cleanest, followed by Plateau State, Niger State, Benue, Kwara, Nasarawa, and Kogi State. Northwest zone, please. Northwest Kaduna remains top with 40%, Katsina at 32, Sokoto at 25, Jigawa, Kebbi, and Zamfara, including Kano, had their equal scores at 25% respectively. North Central Zone, for the Stone Promax 2018 to 2023, Bauchi is the cleanest in the northeast, closely followed by Taraba, Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno. Southwest Zone, interestingly, Lagos is the leader there. A lot of people might not understand things when they say Lagos. There are several factors that are taken into consideration, just like we listed on the 5 variables. It's closely followed by Ogun State, Oyo, Ondo, and Ekiti State. Southeast Zone, Ebonyi tops with 50%, Enugu with 35%, Imo with 30%, Anambra, and down the ladder is Abia State. South-South, Akwa Ibom tops with 80%, Cross River, Rivers, Edo and Delta on equal terms, Ambayeso. At this point, once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in drawing our conclusion, let us first and foremost congratulate the good people of Akwa Ibom State and government for emerging the climate state. Sixth-time cleanest state in Nigeria under the 5-year project review cycle in Nigeria, tagged Stone Promax 2023 with a cumulative score of 72%, followed by a Boeing state with 50%, and FCT with 47% respectively. As usual, we encourage all stakeholders to engage in peer review mechanism by making our time to visit both performing states, cities, and the backward states, cities, to gain more insight to what the top states are doing in order to improve on their performance rating. We equally urge Nigerians, among other things, to embrace strong personal hygiene and good sanitation habits and to dispose of their waste at the right places. Since 2018 to 2023, we feel encouraged by the response from government at all levels and the citizen in general for the minor but very meaningful improvement on hygiene and sanitation practices across the states, where 7% within the past 6-year review cycles on this global project has been replicated, which has been replicated in some countries in Africa since 2021. This is in line with the project goal, which is founded on bringing sanitation and waste management to the front burner of both government and the citizenry, and in the process increase awareness and encourage alternative actions on personal hygiene and sanitation in order to sustain a cleaner, healthier, and safer Nigeria while improving the life expectancy of Nigerians. In drawing the curtain on Stone Promax 2023 to a close, Clean Up Nigeria and our international partners most heartily congratulate the President, Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the 16th President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who joined other world leaders that attended the Conference of Parties, COP28, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. It is in the light of sustaining the Conference of Parties in the past, the present, and the future that we jointly call on this administration in Nigeria to set the stage for a Green Environmental Agenda, GEA. The Green Environmental Agenda will present a system where the issue of environment is considered alongside others in all decision making for the country. The agenda seeks to protect our ecosystem, mitigation of losses, and the establishment of our mitigation of losses and the establishment of our dependence on nature and natural living. Under the Green Environmental Agenda, our key 4 areas of consideration, such as city and natural living, sustainable living, energy reset, green economy with emphasis on resource efficiency management. These 4 variables, if properly harmonized, are capable of achieving the following objective for this administration and our citizenry as in economic recovery, 1, poverty reduction, 2, and reduction of carbon emission, including ecosystem degradation. There is no gainsaying the fact that the green environmental agenda has a magical advantage of measurable green governance efficiency, GGE, if professionally articulated by providing the underlisted components to harvest the areas of our economy, such as in agriculture, fisheries, forestry, manufacturing, renewable energy, and tourism. Furthermore, the impactation for a better green governance efficiency, GGE, will help to reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover our ecosystem. As we all prepare for the projected 50% temperature rise between 2015 to 2023, let us bear in mind that over 120 million Africans, and by extension Nigerians, will be exposed to higher drought, flooding with heat level rising between 2.3 to 2.5 centigrade in the coming years, which will have tremendous effect on the reduction of food security for our people. President Tinubu's administration can make a great difference between previous administration, which have not done much in the field of environment other than pay lip services to signing and rectifying international protocols on conventions of the environment. We in Nigeria need practical action on environmental matters to drive home the processes of the just concluded Conference of All Parties 28 and more. Finally, as we all prepare to leave this place, let us once again remember that each and every one of us can make the difference if we put in our positive energy on the environment. And as global citizens, we can make a whole lot of difference. We salute Akwa Ibom State, the Promax 2023 cleanest state in Nigeria. And I also say that, remember, Nigeria, a clean Nigeria is possible. I remain yours sincerely, the Prince of the Environment. We're meant to understand that while we want to recognize the presence of each and every one of us here who has made the sacrifices to be here, we want to thank you and congratulate you all. We understand from what we see, key members of the Board of Akwa Ibom State Environmental Protection Agency and workers are here. The Permanent Secretary, Federal State Ministry of Environment is equally here. At this point, before we draw the final saying, let us give a minute or two for goodwill messages, first coming from the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment. Also within us here is Professor Salina, cited you and a whole lot of us, and on the decks here we have plenty of professors and so much of engineers too. Please, the Permanent Secretary.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and distinguished members of the High Table. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm here representing the Honorable Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources, Right Honorable Uno Etimunu, who is unavoidable absence as a result of other state events. He has sent his goodwill, and he said 2 minutes. I'll try to compress it as much as I can. So a goodwill message presented by the Honorable Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources, Chief Uno Etimunu, at the public presentation of the sixth State of the Nation Environment Report held on Tuesday, 19 December 2023 at Uyo. With utmost delight, I hereby, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Management, and staff of my ministry, convey our very sincere appreciation to the entire leadership of Clean Up Nigeria for convening this gathering in order to formally present the State of the Nigerian Environment Report under the 5-year 2018 to 2023 project cycles review, and graciously extending invitation to us as key stakeholders in matters relating to the environment. As we may all agree, the state of our environment presently dominates discussions at almost every gathering of world leaders. The daily concerns, interest, and focus on the global environment becomes even more topical because each passing day, our environment comes under series of threats to its survival. I am therefore very delighted that Clean Up Nigeria had initiated this 5-yearly review project to allow stakeholders and experts in the sector to undertake holistic appraisal of the state of the environment with a view to charting a way forward for its care and preservation. When we consider the menacing impact of human activities and climate change on the environment, we cannot but appreciate the Clean Up Nigeria initiative. From the report of this periodic review and the findings thereof, a strong message should be passed to us to guide against and lead to the campaign to sensitize members of our various communities to stay off those untoward practices that often negatively impact our environment. For the avoidance of doubt, the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather conditions, resulting sometimes in intense drought and desertification, water scarcity, severe fires, or the melting of polar ice, leading to rising sea levels, which causes flooding and tsunamis, as witnessed in some parts of the world, and recently in most of our riverine communities, are some of the devastating outcomes of climate change, which of course is a major threat to the survival of our environment. Therefore, as we take delivery of this report, I enjoin us all as stakeholders to be prepared to effectively implement its recommendations for the good of our environment, and as a way of encouraging Clean Up Nigeria, its technical team, and partners to invest more in this all-important project. As government, I wish to reiterate our continued resolve to evolve, promote, and support policies and programs that will ensure a sustainable, safe, and secure environment for us all. In consideration of the above, we shall continually build and strengthen institutional frameworks that will drive our environmental practices and policies, cultivate an environmentally friendly culture amongst our citizens. In line with the ARISE agenda focus on the environment, may I reassure us that the Pastor Umoinos-led government remains seriously committed to proper waste management, flood and erosion control, preservation and conservation of our biodiversity, flood, end to gas flaring, amongst others, to ensure all anti-environmental activities that threaten the serenity of our environment are brought under control. I hereby once again appeal to our people to always tend our environment with utmost care and love, because it is the one and only earth that hosts all of us. Before I end my brief message, permit me to again appreciate Clean Up Nigeria for finding us worthy of the award of the cleanest state in Nigeria. Cleanest state in Nigeria. Before I end my brief message, permit me to again appreciate Clean Up Nigeria for finding us worthy of the award of the cleanest state in Nigeria for the last 5 years running. We do not take the award for granted. It is for us an encouragement to do more in preserving the Akwa Ibom, nay, the Nigerian environment for our future. Again, let me remind us that environmental protection and preservation is everybody's business. Hence, we all must team up to ensure that the state of the Nigerian environment remains clean and green always. May the blessings of this Yuletide abide with us all. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Very finally, for emerging the overall best performing state in the past 6 years, going by performance indicators and 5 times cleanest state in Nigeria, under the 6-year project review period, 2018 to 2023, tag Stone Promax 2023, Akwa Ibom State will be conferred with the Stone Project 2023 for emerging the greenest state in Nigeria with the Green Crystal Award. As it is, a life-size gold trophy measuring 12 feet by 6 feet at a strategic position will be mounted in the state. While we reserve certain award releases, our final interface with the chief servant of the state, Pastor Onoemo, may I at this point, privilege, I'm proud to invite the chairman of the Akwa Ibom State Environmental Protection and Waste Management Agency, Honorable Prince Akim, to come forward to receive the Cleanest State Promax Green Crystal certification in all 5 performing indicators for 2018 to 2023, with 5 times in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Chief Alabo, you take the first one. Let's see what to have now. For being the best performing state in the project circuit for street stroke road cleanliness for the past 6 years in Nigeria, the Stone Promax 2023 is awarded to Akwa Ibom State.
God, in Jesus' name.
All right. For being the 5th best rated performing state for knowledge and attitude and practice of hygiene and sanitation of the people of Nigeria under the 5-year review, 2018 through 2022 project, we are happy to present you with this award. Congratulations. Congratulations.
As the 5-time best rated performing state on waste management services in Nigeria under the 5 years 2018 to 2022 project circles review, we highly present this certificate to you, sir. You're welcome, sir. You want to say something? Okay. Come and shake me. On behalf of Clean Up Nigeria, with Green Crystal, do present this award as the 5-time best rated performing state on vegetation drainage control in Nigeria. May God bless you, and we pray Almighty Allah to continue giving you the strength and wisdom and the energy to keep it up. As you can see, Akwa Ibom State is growing more than any other state. So therefore, the challenges must be double. Otherwise, you are bound to crash. But we pray Almighty Allah to give you that strength and wisdom to keep it up. Thank you.
On behalf of Clean Nigeria, I present to you this certificate for being the best 5 times rated performing state on public opinion polls in Nigeria under the 5-year 2018-2022 project cycles review. Congratulations, keep the flag flying.
I'm presenting something to my boss. On behalf of Clean Up Nigeria, Green Crystals ProMax 2023 award presented to Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria as the 5 times cleanest state in Nigeria under 5 years review 2018 to 2022 project cycles review. Sir, in recognition of your outstanding performances and determination in promoting and sustaining a clean and healthy environment that adds values to Mother Earth and its inhabitants. Congratulations, sir. We wish you the best. Thank you, sir.
Place thank you. Of note, we just passed on the certifications. The awards have not been given because we can only show that, but that will rest with the Chief Executive of the state. But for the avoidance of doubt, these are the pool awards for the 5 different categories: vegetation control, street/road cleanliness, public opinion pool, waste management, and drainage control. We'll let this with the Chief Executive later. The ProMax, that's why it's ProMax. The ProMax, as a matter of fact, is not supposed to be, like we said earlier, the ProMax Distinctive Green Crystal Award will be presented to His Excellency. What we're handing over to the Waste Management Chairman is the certifications then. So these are the main things that will go to the members. These are still the ProMax Ultimate Resters, I could call them, and they all still will be going to His Excellency, the Governor, at the appointed time. It's good. The comprehensive study equally will be handed over to His Excellency, but it's good to have a feel of it first. Okay. That's 1,980 pages that has been reduced. Before we hand the mic back to the chairman for his remarks, usually the executive summary and the comprehensive summary goes to every state governor, all embassies, and stakeholders. To make it more encouraging for readability, that's why the executive summary is actually pulled, which is 41 pages, and it carries the plain stuff, not the main body of it. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Give it up to Akwa Ibom for emerging the Promax 2023 cleanest state in Nigeria. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of NTSG, and other international partners, my environmental health officers, board members, gentlemen of the press. Well, I don't have much to say, because the truth is, the reward for hard work is more work. But first and foremost, let me thank God Almighty for the set of governors we've had in Akwa Ibom State. I want to thank His Excellency Obong Victor Attah, who during his period, the law was passed and signed. That was in 2000. We also had Barrister Godswill Akpabio, who built the receptacles, maintenance, and workshop where we use as our office today. His Excellency Deacon Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, who started the weeding spray by also giving us, or having the political will, to reconstitute the board in 2018. Let me thank His Excellency Pastor Omar Obasiano, who is an environment-centric governor. He is the first governor who has come out on a sanitation day to join us in the cleanup. He is a man who came prepared. That is why in the Arise agenda, you would see environmental sustainability. He came prepared. Even as a commissioner for lands and water resources, we remember that the WASH program was anchored by him. And he is the governor who also came and said, you cannot conquer land and water at the same time. And actually had to split those ministries into two, Ministry of Land and Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources and Sanitation. Sincerely, Akwa Ibom has grown. Like one of the members told me, whispered to me, he said, my brother, you don't have to crash. It is the truth, we have to step up our game. Considering that Akwa Ibom is the most peaceful state, arguably, a lot of persons are coming into Akwa Ibom. What we saw in 2018 is not what we are seeing today. I could remember that in 2018, a tonnage of waste was between 400 to 600 tons per day. But as of today, we are battling between 1,800 to 2,200 tons per day. Result for hard work, reward for hard work is more work. Thank you very much. Let us put our hands together, join hands together to make Akwa Ibom a clean state. But remember, Mboro Kembio, Akwa Cheke.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, as we draw to a close, please, to the media, the report is available on software. It's going to be sent to you if you put your email account addresses there. The hard copies are very few. It goes around the other way. At this point, once again, we want to say thank you for your presence on this Promax 2023, the presentation of the State of the Nigerian Environment 2023. Thank you and God bless.
Please. Congratulations. Bro, how do I get the speech? What's your name? Oh, this is your sister. Do you remember me? Eh? No, I can't tell your sister. You was my mate. That was the first I was seeing you. Please, I don't have this. How do I get that speech? Online at the shop? No.
Oh, everything, is everything here?
Yes. If you send it to who? I should give it. Yes, no, I didn't put it from Kochema. From Kochema.
No. Outside. There was no provision for that.
There was no provision for that.
There's no space for that. Only number.
No provision for that. Only phone number.
And my email is as long as.
Oh, this is your guy. Boy, how are you? I'm seeing it for you. Prince, how do we? Prince,
a neighbor. Nigeria.